Walkabout. Introduction.
In Australia, when an Aboriginal man-child is 16, his tribe sends him out into the Australian bush. A lot of the bush is desert. The bush boy has to live there alone for months. The Aboriginals call this time the Walkabout. This is the story of an Aboriginal boy's walkabout, but it is also the story of two American children. Mary and Peter are lost in the Australian desert after an aeroplane crash. Their uncle is waiting for them in Adelaide, a long way away. The desert is a strange world for the children. They come from a city and things are different there. When they meet the bush boy, they learn about the desert. They also start to think about their world. But can the story end happily for the three children?
Lost in the Australian bush.
The aeroplane crashed in the middle of nowhere. There were no roads, no houses, and no people. There was only bush and rocks as far as the eye could see. Only two children survived the crash. The aeroplane was on fire. The girl pulled her small brother away from it. "Run, Pete!" she shouted. "Quick!" They ran through the bush as fast as they could. Then they started to climb up through some rocks. Near the top, they stopped and looked down. From the rocks, they watched the fire. "Where are we?" asked Peter. The girl didn't answer. She didn't know. They were lost in the Australian desert, but she couldn't tell Peter that. 2,500 kilometres away, in the big city of Adelaide, Uncle Keith was at the airport. He looked at his watch. Keith's brother worked in America. He lived in Charleston, South Carolina, with his wife and two children. This was the children's first visit to Australia, but their aeroplane was late. It was very late. Uncle Keith waited and waited. He talked to other families. They asked about the plane, but nobody at the airport could tell them anything. Then people began to talk about an accident, about a plane crash. There were no survivors. Now it was dark, and the children were alone. They were cold, so they climbed down between some rocks. They could see nothing. They could hear nothing. They were lost, and they were afraid. "It's all right, Peter," said Mary. His sister's arms were round him. That felt better. When a boy is only 8, a big sister of 13 can be wonderful. They talked quietly, perhaps because there was no other noise, or perhaps because they were afraid. "Mary," Peter said, "I'm hungry. Have you got any chocolate?" Mary found the chocolate. She broke it in two and gave half to him. They sat very quietly in the black night. Then Peter started to move again. "My leg hurts," he said. Mary looked at it. "It's all right," she said. "It'll be better in the morning."